Hello everyone. As you all probably know because I've been complaining about it over the last several videos, I've been in like the worst reading slump this year. I have only read 4 books this year, 5 books now, I think technically. I've read basically nothing. I've had no motivation to read. I have the desire, I just haven't been picking up books and I haven't been able to finish anything that I have started. So in order to get myself to finally finish a book, to finally get back into reading, I've decided to go back to an old classic booktube staple and do a 24-hour reading vlog. It's been so long since I've done one of these, and honestly I just really feel like I need it. I feel like I need that time pressure and that push and the like accountability that comes from recording it to actually finish reading a book. So that's what we're doing. A few of you recommended that I do a video that several other booktubers have done before, where you read books until you read a 5-star book and then that's when the video ends. I've set myself up with books I think are gonna be 5-star books, so I don't want the video to stop if I end up reading a 5-star book on like the first one. And maybe I'll do that video in the future, but I feel like right now I need the momentum. So like I need to continue reading even if I end up loving the first thing I read. It's actually a bit later in the morning. It's 10:30 right now. So basically, as the title of this suggests, we're going to be reading for 24 hours straight. I am going to sleep. I am not 21 years old anymore. I can't not sleep, and my sleep schedule has been so bad recently. I have not been sleeping and I need to fix that. So I am gonna sleep. I want to see how many books I can get through. I feel like I have a good lineup of books here that I'm really excited about. Some I've already started that I want to finish, some that are brand new ones I want to pick up, a mix of audiobooks and physical books. I've set myself up for success, so hopefully that is what we achieve. So I'm just going to give you a quick run through of the books I have on my TBR for now. This can change, as you probably know about me. I'm such a moody reader, and so I can change my mind at any minute. Like I might not read any of these, knowing me. So take this with a grain of salt, but this is the plan. Let's see how much I stick to it. First up, I want to read a few graphic novels and manga because I feel like that will help push me to get back into reading because they're faster to get through. It always gives you some momentum to start with. And I just mentioned in my last video that I recently bought the 5th volume of Heartstopper, and I'm so excited to read this. I still haven't read it. This is the one I want to finish first today, so I definitely think I can do that. I mean, it's Heartstopper. It's so happy and lighthearted and fun, but I love this series, so I'm excited to continue on with it. So I think this will be a good one to start off with. And then because just like a couple weeks ago I did read the 1st volume of this manga series, I want to continue on with it because I bought not all of the rest of the volumes, but most of the rest of the volumes, and that is A Sign of Affection. I have volumes 2 through 7 here. I think volumes 8 and 9 are also out, but these are the only ones that I have. So I'm gonna read all of these, hopefully. So that'll be another like 6 books. And I know some people are gonna be like, manga doesn't count. It counts. If it gets me to read, it counts. So yes, I do want to get through all 6 of these because I do want to binge this series because I love it. So that's it for the manga and graphic novels I want to read. And then getting to the novels, let's start with the ones I've already started. So first up, this book I'm already halfway through and I started reading it months ago. And I really want to finish it today because I've been enjoying it so much. And that is Rouge by Mona Awad. I have both the physical book obviously, and I also have an audiobook copy of this, so I might alternate between the two depending on what I'm doing throughout the day. But this is definitely one of the ones I want to finish, and I hope that I can because it's just so good. So this is definitely a top priority for me. I love the prose in this book. I love how mysterious and eerie the story is. It's exactly my cup of tea. So I'm hoping that finishing this up will be a good push to keep reading. Okay, then the rest of my TBR is kind of up in the air. It depends on what I'm in the mood for later in the day. This will just depend on how I'm feeling later. But first up, the one I probably want to read the most is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. This is one of my most anticipated releases of this year. It comes out in August, so I am excited about reading it, but it is still a little ways away, so I won't be able to talk about it as much with people, so that's the only downside of reading this now. But I want to read it immediately, and I've been wanting to read it since I got my copy. This is a top priority, so hopefully this will be the one I pick up, but depends on what the vibe is later. And then lastly, for a contemporary vibe, I do really want to finally get around to reading Funny Story by Emily Henry. I know this also just came out this past week and everyone's talking about it and starting to read it, and I'm curious to know what I'm gonna think of it. So if I want something something a little bit lighter, maybe not emotionally, because her books can be pretty emotionally heavy at times, but in terms of like theme and story, since it's a contemporary rather than like a heavy, dense fantasy novel, maybe I will try picking this one up. And then as far as audiobooks go, the first one is a bit shorter, so that might be a better one to pick up for the day, is Minor Detail. This is a novel by a Palestinian author about Palestine that takes place in the summer of 1949 in Palestine, and I've just heard great things about it, and I really want to read more books by Palestinian authors, so that is definitely one I want to pick up, so that's for sure an option for the day. And then lastly, if I'm really feeling like picking up something just weird and strange, my other choice is Lapvona by Ottessa Moshfegh, which is just supposedly very disturbing, very dark, very weird, but I have just been in that kind of mood, and for some reason I really want to read this book. I feel like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but it might just motivate me to read something. I talked about this in my video where I talked about my reading slump, that this is one of the ones I really wanted to pick up, so that might be a good option too, but we'll see how the day goes, we'll see how I'm feeling. Anyway, for now, like I said, it's still kind of later in the morning, so I'm gonna go grab some breakfast and then sit down and start reading Heartstopper Volume 5, and then we will get into everything else as well, and I'll give you updates along the way. So let's get started. Hopefully this motivates me to read and I get a lot of reading done, and hopefully it motivates all of you to read as well, because a lot of you were telling me you're also in reading slumps, which sucks. I know how bad it is, so we can get through this together. I believe in us. Let's take on these next 24 hours. For you, it's probably going to be like a 20 to 30 minute video, but still, hopefully it motivates you to pick up your next read and finally get through something and enjoy it and love it. So let's get started. Before we dive into reading all the books and trying to accomplish my reading goals, I want to let you all know about another goal I've had for this year as well, which is to develop my skills in learning a new language, which is something I've been talking about for a while. And that brings us to the sponsor for today's video, which is Lingoda. Lingoda is a language learning platform to help you learn or develop your skills in a new language. I started studying French when I was in high school, and then I didn't pick it up again for a really long time, and I've been trying on my own to pick it back up again, but it's never really easy to do that on your own, and Lingoda makes that so much easier for me because they have actual classes that you can attend in order to facilitate your learning. They offer 4 different languages: English, German, French, and Spanish, and there are over 100,000 students all participating. You can participate in group lessons because it can be helpful to actually speak with other people, because I feel like that's the way that I learn best, when I get to actually communicate with other people. I can really test my skills that way, and I learn a lot more quickly. And classes are taught 24/7 all year round, so you can really tailor it to your own schedule, which I find really helpful because I love having that flexibility to learn whenever I can. They also have the Lingoda Language Sprint Challenge, which is a 60-day course that is designed to help you build a daily language learning habit and stay motivated while learning. It's super easy to stick to, and you can pick lessons based on topics you're interested in to help customize your learning experience and help you stay more focused, and thus help you learn faster. My personal favorite self-study feature is their flashcards. I really love a good flashcard. They're really helpful for me. It reminds me of my school days. I learn really quickly that way. It helps me memorize vocabulary, and it's a really good asset to the rest of the lessons. So if learning a new language has been a goal for you for some time, or it's one of your main goals this year, be sure to check out my link in the description box to join the Lingoda Sprint Challenge and use my code ClockworkReader to get an exclusive $25 discount. But again, thank you to Lingoda for sponsoring today's video, and without any further ado, let's get into the reading vlog. Okay, got my cereal and my book, and I'm ready to eat and then read. I'm not gonna get food on my book. The only problem with reading this though is that I don't remember how the last one ended. I may have to look that up for a minute, or you know what? We'll just wing it. It's not like that important. I feel like they'll catch me up. I don't think it was like a cliffhanger or anything. Hang on, sorry, I promise I'm not gonna stop every 5 seconds, but he is so real for this. This is literally me every single time I get dressed for anything, without fail. Anyway, back to reading. I finished it and I've returned with more food. Had to take a bit of a break for like almost an hour there for something, so took me longer, unfortunately, to actually get started. But I finished it in about like 45 minutes, 30 minutes, because it's not very long. But it was great. I really enjoyed this. Honestly though, probably my least favorite volume so far. Like, it was still great. It's just if I were to rank them, this is probably lower for me. I remember, I think it was volume 3 or 4 that I really liked. So yeah, this one's probably gonna be like about 4 stars for me. 3.5 to 4 stars. Still great, still loved it, but just not my favorite of the volumes. But I'm really excited for the final volume. I will be sad reading that one. But I am glad that this isn't the last one, because I was convinced that it was, and then that would have made this reading experience very different. But I finished a book. Finally. So next I'm gonna eat my lunch because it's like 1 o'clock now. And then I'm going to get started on, I think, maybe actually I will try and finish Rouge first because I'm kind of in like a novel mood. And then I will go back into reading the Sign of Affection volumes. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start that audiobook right now while I'm having my lunch, and then we'll decide how I feel afterwards, what I'll continue on with. Gonna go have this, gonna get started on reading that audiobook, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I have made some progress in Rouge. I am on chapter 22, page 261. So I have this much of the book left, which is not much, and I'm obsessed with this. The thing is, with this book, you kind of just have to accept that you are going to be confused. Like, this book kind of feels like hallucinating because the main character is hallucinating for a good bit of it, and it feels like a fever dream or like a drug-induced dream. It's so well written. It's brilliant. It's so clever. I'm really curious to know how it's going to end. I don't think it's going to be the type of thing everybody likes, but it's exactly the type of weird that I like. So yeah, this has been great. I've actually been motivated, been sitting down reading straight for like the past like couple hours now. It's nearly 3 p.m. right now. I would have liked to have already finished this by now, but I got up kind of late today, so that's okay. I think I am gonna try and finish this in the next hour, 2 hours or so. I think I can read like 100 pages in an hour and a half. I have about almost exactly 100 pages left, so I think I can read that in an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna switch from the audiobook to the physical book because I read faster. This might be my first 5-star read of the year. I don't know. Depends on how it ends. Right now it's sitting at like a 4 to 4.5. But just depending on how the ending goes, this could be a 5-star book. So we'll see. Hopefully it is, but you never know. So can't get my hopes up too high. Anyway, I will check back in soon. Okay, finished. I loved this. Hang on, I'm gonna put you down so I can talk. I loved every page of this. Loved the writing, loved the eerie atmosphere. I loved the lack of plot, which most people I don't think will love, but I personally love a no plot, just vibes book. And this is definitely that. It still has a plot, but that definitely takes a back seat to the kind of inner monologue and turmoil that our main character is dealing with. It's a fantastic literary fiction slash horror-ish book about cults and grief and beauty and the beauty industry and intergenerational trauma. It's so good. So good. Excellent writing. A near perfect book to me. This wasn't 5 out of 5 stars. It's like 4.5 out of 5 stars, but I would absolutely recommend this. Like, it's definitely up there. It's just not on my list of all-time favorites, if that makes sense. You have to read this if any of it sounds interesting to you. I'd recommend looking up the synopsis if you want to know a little bit more, but I think going into it with very little information might actually be a lot of fun. I didn't know almost anything about it before I started, but it is also kind of like, not a retelling, but it draws on themes of Snow White. So there's a little bit of like a fairy tale element to it as well, which I really love. And you can definitely see that from the very first chapter of the book. I'm really excited to actually read more by Mona Awad. I wanted to read Bunny for a while. People have recommended that to me and I feel like I'd like it. So I might check that out sometime soon. But yeah, this was a great first experience with this author's writing, and I'm glad I finished another book. So yay. So to keep this momentum going, and I'm gonna start reading A Sign of Affection. I want something a bit more lighthearted now, so I feel like those will be perfect for that. So I'm gonna try and get through at least a couple of the volumes and then try and catch up to where the show is or where it ends. I don't know when that is in the manga. So book 2 is complete. Let's move on to book 3 of the day. Can you believe that we're already here after like months of me reading nothing? Who is she? But yeah, I'm really glad I did this because this is actually genuinely helping me, and it's like not even 5 o'clock yet. It's actually been exactly an hour and a half since I last updated you, so it did take me exactly 1.5 hours to read about 115 pages. And so hopefully before it's like too late in the afternoon, I can finish a good bit of A Sign of Affection. So let's get started on that. We've moved over to my bed, which means it is Sign of Affection time. I do not think these are in order. They are not. I can have maximum lounging abilities while I binge A Sign of Affection. So I am so ready. I am so excited. The sun is still up. Haven't really left my room all day. Why would I want to be outside when I could be inside reading books, which has not been the case for me for the past several months. So this is actually a really nice change. Anyway, let's dive in. Okay, I'm on volume 4 now, so I've read 2 volumes. You know that one meme that's like, how can he be so hot and respectful? That's literally what this is. How can he be so hot and respectful? It's not fair. Pick one. I just need them to adapt more manga like this, or just make more manga like this. I'm sure there are other ones that are as good too. I just don't know about them. I need to find them. I need to read them all. It's just, this is one of those things that I read where it gives me that like high school kind of like butterflies in your stomach, giggling and kicking your feet feeling when you read like a good romance. That's what this makes me feel. It's just so perfect that like, you know, it could never be real. Like no real man is ever gonna act like this. And that's why I will forever live in fiction. Anyway, continuing on, I still have 3.5 volumes to go. So we've got some more reading to do, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get to the end and I don't have the last 2 volumes that are still out. I might have to order them and read them as soon as possible as well. But we'll have to move on to something else. But for now, I love a good fictional romance. Nothing will ever compare. Okay, no, shut the fuck up, because how did he get hotter and more respectful? He has a bun now. I need them to animate this. I need this animated immediately. I need them to make a season 2 of this show, like right now. We need this. This is important. You all need to read this series. Where's the cover? You need to read this. You need to read this right now. I'm telling you, it'll heal you. No! That cliffhanger. I need the next volume. I should have bought the last 2. That was so good. Okay, well, I read 6 volumes of A Sign of Affection. I've read 8 books today so far already. And it's like 7 o'clock maybe? Yeah, it's 7:08 p.m. So still got several hours left in the day before I even have to go to sleep. And I'm kind of on a reading high, so I might go to bed late. But oh, I love this series so much. It's very good. That last volume was probably my favorite one so far. I don't think it beats something like Yona of the Dawn for me, but that's in part just because like I'm such a fantasy lover that element of the story really adds to it for me. But it's still fantastic. Highly, highly recommend if you're looking for wholesome, good, just like cute, lighthearted romance. Great characters, they're all lovable. It's really simple. Like it's just truly simple, good, escapist fun. So glad I read these. Now I don't know what I want to read next. Okay, so for a physical book, I'm feeling either Lady Macbeth or Funny Story. Probably leaning more towards Funny Story since I'm still in a little bit of a contemporary mood. I feel like this might be more dense. So I don't know, but I have a feeling I'm gonna like this more. And I still need that 5-star book. Like I still haven't gotten that 5-star read. And that is kind of the goal with this. Like I do want to read at least 1 5-star book in this video. I know that wasn't the original plan for this, to end the video when I finally read a 5-star book, because even if I don't, I will still end the vlog after 24 hours. But I do want to read a 5-star book in this time. Still no 5-star books this whole year, which is really upsetting. And I feel like there's a higher chance of this being 5 stars over this one. So I don't know. We'll go back to this. And then my audiobook options again. I did really want to read Minor Detail, and that is short. So maybe a good audiobook break would be nice. I might do that actually. I think I'm gonna listen to Minor Detail because the audiobook for this is 3 hours. So I think that's the plan. We're gonna go with Minor Detail, and then I will choose between one of these 2 later tonight / tomorrow morning, depending on what time I end up going to sleep. I've read 8 books already, so this will be the 9th one. And then maybe a 10th. Can we go for 10 books in 24 hours? Let's see. If I really wanted to do that, I would just do a manga challenge and like binge all 35 volumes of Yona of the Dawn or whatever. But anyway, we're looking for quality, not just quantity. So I am also looking to read something I'll love. So hopefully this is also something I'm gonna end up really loving. I know it's gonna be a difficult read, but I want that and I need that sometime. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. So yeah, gonna start on that next, and then maybe sometime in between there, finally get some dinner because I haven't had dinner yet. But anyway, on to the 9th book. Let's go. Okay, hello. So I finished Minor Detail. That was a harrowing book. It was extremely sad, disturbing, gut-wrenching to read, but also exceptionally written. The story takes place in 2 times. First, it starts in 1949, right after the Nakba, and then it's about a crime that's committed by an Israeli soldier. And then we jump forward decades later, and it's from the perspective of this woman who is trying to uncover more details about what happened to that woman in 1949. It's really disturbing to read, obviously, but I just thought it was exceptionally written. It gave me chills, goosebumps, a must read in my opinion. Obviously, this is a fictional account, but I think still gives you you a lot of information about the history of Palestine and the Israeli occupation and what that violence has been like. From what I remember, I believe this book was longlisted for the Booker Prize, and they tried to pull it last year or something, and that's how it gained so much traction and popularity and people started talking about it more, and that's how I heard about it and why I wanted to read it in the first place. I'm really glad I did. Super short novella, but the author clearly paid a lot of attention to the details of this story. No pun intended on the title, but you can very clearly tell the intention between trying to parallel these two parts of the narrative. It was just so well done. 4 out of 5 stars. I'm so glad I read it. So now it is like 9:45. I finished this around like 9 o'clock. I just went and had some dinner, so that's why I'm updating a little bit later now. I still feel like reading, so we're gonna keep going. I have at least a couple hours left in me to keep going, and I think I'm gonna go with funny story because that's kind of the vibe I'm looking for right now. I'm still in a contemporary mood. I don't know that I feel like fantasy in this moment, but as per usual, knowing me, I will very likely switch it up at some point. Although I've been pretty good. I've been sticking to the TBR I said. Like the only things I've read have been on my TBR so far that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, which is rare for me. I don't usually stick to things like that. So this is a good thing. So I think we're gonna start with this one. If I'm not feeling it, I will switch over to Lady Macbeth because like I said earlier, I really do think that one has the highest chance of being a 5-star read for me, but we'll see, who knows? I mean, Happy Place really surprised me when I read that one. I did not expect to love it as much as I did, and it's easily one of my favorite like contemporary romance novels I've read now. So yeah, let's give this one a shot. Let's see how it goes, and I'll update once I've made some progress and let you know how I'm feeling about it. Okay, so I'm about 55, I think. Yes, 55 pages into Funny Story right now. I already know I'm gonna be obsessed with this. I am gonna be obsessed with this. It might be too early to say for sure because you never know. The romance novels can go downhill really quick, right? You never know, like, is there gonna be that third act breakup or something of the sort that's just really gonna throw you off and make you not love it. But right now, based on vibes, I'm having a good time. Maybe this is in part from the like momentum of reading throughout the rest of the day, but like I am so invested right from the beginning. I think this was a good choice. I think I couldn't do like fantasy right now. I don't need something that dense. I wanted something that's just a bit more quick to get through, and I just love how funny Emily Henry's writing is. This is just set up to be like the perfect funny rom-com that you know is also going to be heart-wrenching, but like I can see this playing out like a movie in my head, maybe even more so than any of her other books, and that's like exactly what I need right now. I'm so excited for where the story is gonna go. Like the setup of the plot is great. I didn't even realize what this one was gonna be about. Daphne, the main character, and her fiance break up because he leaves her for his best friend, and then she becomes roommates with the best friend's boyfriend, and then I think the romance is gonna be between the two of them, which is just so funny. Then they're gonna go to their ex's plural wedding with each other and like pretend to be each other's dates, like fake dating. So it has like all the tropes. It's really fun. Like it's a bit over the top, but oh my god. I've been on like a rom-com movie kick this year, so I feel like this might be the perfect thing for me to read as well because it's just like the mood I've been in. But yeah, anyway, so excited. I'm gonna go back to reading. It's currently like 10:40 right now, so still have plenty of time. I'm gonna try and not stay up until like 2 a.m. reading this, but no promises. This is a 24-hour reading vlog, so that is actually acceptable. But I'm gonna try and get through as much of it as I can, and I will let you know how it goes and how I'm feeling about it, but I have high hopes. I have very high hopes. Please pray that this ends up being a 5-star book for me. I need it. I really need that win. I finished it. We did it. We finally did it. I read a 5-star book. So I did in fact stay up until 3 a.m. reading this last night. Was that a mistake? Perhaps. I am exhausted, and it's been basically 24 hours. It's like 10:30 right now, which is like exactly the time that I started this vlog yesterday. So it's been pretty much 24 hours. I did sleep during some of that time, but you know what? It's fine. I read 10 books. So I'm happy. And this one, when I tell you last night, I couldn't stop. I couldn't put it down. From the time I updated and said I think I'm really gonna like this till 3 o'clock in the morning, I was giggling and kicking my feet. I had such a good time with this book. Oh my god, it made me cry. I wish I was recording, but like my lights were basically out. I just had my one small light on and it was too late for me to get up and like actually get my camera out, but it made me cry. It literally made me cry. I'm gonna cry again thinking about it. Here's the thing, I don't like it more than I like Happy Place. Happy Place is still my favorite Emily Henry novel. That is like a 5-star favorite book now. I wouldn't call this like a favorite book, but it was still a 5-star romance novel for me. This is now my second favorite of Emily Henry's books, and then I think Beach Read would be next, so that'd be like my top 3. So yeah, again, wouldn't call it like a favorite of all time, but so good. And after a streak of reading a bunch of books I didn't like very much, or books that were kind of mid, and then some great ones that were 4 stars but just not all-time favorites, this was so good. This is exactly what I needed. That was also part of it. Maybe I will come down from this high in like a couple of months and be like, you know what, it wasn't 5 stars, but I still liked it. But right now, this is 5 stars. If it made me cry like that and gave me like a therapy session, essentially, I have to give it 5 stars, I'm sorry. Not to sound like those TikTok posts with all the like little arrows pointing at the book with the tropes. This one is for the ones who love fake dating, who love a strangers to then friends to something more to lovers kind of arc going on. For the girls with daddy issues who cannot get over it. This is for you. This is for us. And I loved it. I loved every page. The way I feel about Emily Henry is kind of the way that I feel about Sally Rooney, where they're objectively really good writers, but some of their books are just not going to work for you and other ones will, and if it clicks, it clicks. And this is one of her books that just clicked for me, and I'm so glad it did. I'm so glad I had this experience, and I'm so glad I finally read a 5-star book this year. So yes, highly recommend if you are thinking about picking it up. It has my personal seal of approval. I love this one. If you like the romance books I think you'll probably like this one too. And now I want to read more things like it. So if you have romance recommendations, there's some that people have been telling me to read for a while that I just still haven't picked up. Please let me know. I think I might be in like a romance mood right now, so that might be the next thing I pick up. But that kind of concludes this vlog. I can't believe that I actually read 10 books. Let's do a quick run through of everything I read today. First up, I read Rouge, which absolutely loved this, gave this 4.5 stars. A fantastic literary fiction slash horror cult fairy tale retelling type novel. So hard to categorize this, but it was great. And if you like weird things, you'll love this. And then we have Heartstopper. Actually, I read this first, didn't I? Sorry, it's the sleep deprivation getting to me. Heartstopper Volume 5, which was so cute and wholesome. Love this series to death. So excited for the final volume to come out. Then we've got 6 volumes, volumes 2 through 7 of A Sign of Affection. So good. Cannot wait to read the next 2 volumes. I need them immediately. All around like a 4 to 4.5 out of 5-star series. Please read them. Then I listened to Minor Detail on audiobook. Again, such a fantastic, poignant, detailed novel that was devastating to read, but an absolute must read. And then of course, our champion for the video, the 5-star book of the video, Funny Story. So yes, this was amazing. I can't believe I actually did it. I actually got through all of these. Who would have thought? Not me. Also, like, look at these colors. Besides Rouge, this is really like nice. What a nice array. Both Heartstopper and Funny Story kind of actually perfectly blend into the rainbow. I didn't even do that intentionally. But anyway, I feel like myself again. We are so back. I feel like I am ready to take on the world, and by that I mean read everything I've been meaning to read for the last several months and just haven't been able to pick up. And I couldn't be happier. I am so glad I made this video. So 10 books in 24 hours. Some of them were definitely shorter, but if it's a book, it's a book, it counts. I wouldn't recommend this on like a regular basis or anything like that. It's not really about the quantity over the quality. This was kind of just for myself, to push myself to actually start reading again and get that momentum back, and I feel like I needed to do that all at once, otherwise it was going to take me way too long. I'm not actually one to really let reading goals or anything get to me all that much. It just feels awful when you're not able to finish a book for so long and it's what you love to do and it is what you do for your job too. So that was kind of the reason behind this. I don't want anyone to take this as like, oh, you have to be reading tons and tons of books in order to be a real reader or for it to like really count or anything like that. You definitely don't. You can read like just 2 books in the entire year and it still counts. But there's a difference between when you don't feel like reading and you just don't even want to read versus when you want to but you just cannot get yourself to do it. And that's the place that I was in, which is the reason I wanted to do an experiment like this. So I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that it worked out. I'm glad I read a 5-star book, and I hope that I read many more in the coming weeks and months. I literally went from being, I checked my Storygraph, I went from being, I think it was 12 books behind schedule to now just 1 book behind schedule to meet my reading goal, which I set at 50 this year. If I don't meet that, that's completely fine. fine, but it just feels really nice to like get that up all in one day. That was so satisfying. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books that I read in this video. What are your thoughts on any of them? And please discuss Funny Story with me. I need to talk to people about it. Also, let me know if you have any other romance recommendations for me. I'm probably gonna read Lady Macbeth next because I've just been putting that off for way too long. But after that, I obviously have my own TBR, but sometimes it's nice to have inspiration from other people too. But that is it for this video. So if you'd like to follow me on any of my social media, all of my links are in the description box as always. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!